Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where today on the show we're going to be talking about a new reported ending on the rise of Skywalker. We will examine how true this seems to be in corroboration with other leaks, trailers, etc., and try to discern the truth as to what's really happening on the rise of Skywalker. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee. Check it out. Welcome back to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding me for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video and any other video from the channel that you check out, and be sure to hit that notification bell, not once, but twice, so that we're always notified the second a new video goes live. Alright, with that being said, we're going to throw out a spoiler warning for The Rise of Skywalker, as there may be potential plot spoilers from The Rise of Skywalker in this video. Alright, so here's the reason we're addressing this today. This was posted on the Star Wars Leaks Reddit. It looks like it comes from 4chan or something like that. But the reason I want to address it is because it comes from Overlord DVD, and he just passed 100,000 subscribers, so good for him. But he's got such a massive following, and I was looking at this and examining his last video because I didn't buy into it, and I wanted to address it here on the channel, which I did. And it looks like a lot of it is ill-advised, to say the least, and that's why I wanted to address it, because I'm sure at this point in Q4, with The Rise of Skywalker being under a month away at this point, that there's going to be a lot of overlap between the channels and a lot of just general fans who are getting excited for the movie, checking out all of the Star Wars content, leaks, and rumors, etc. So I thought we would address this newest one about the purported ending and give a realistic, plausible take on what's actually happening. So we're going to go over the take, and as we go through it, I'm going to give you some commentary and tell you what seems to be true and consistent with the actual credible leaks thus far and with the outlandish ones. Now let's keep in mind there's nothing actually credible, so to say, using it in the most legit sense of the word, but we won't know anything until the movie actually comes out. But with everything that's clearly credible as far as it can be before the movie comes out, that's what we're basing this off of, which is the Making Star Wars and Jedi Paxos leaks. Alright, so with that being said, we're going to start diving in. So here is what it reads as follows. The climax of the movie has been altered yet again. Everything here is based on the newest cut right now, so apparently this individual's purported to have insider information. Rey arrives on Exegol to confront Palpatine. Palpatine is attached to his life support chair. That's obvious. That's from the teasers, we've seen him in the chair. That's that cut of Rey. Sheev talks to Rey, nearly reciting word for word his speech to Luke from Return of the Jedi. This wouldn't surprise me. There's nothing to actually confirm this in terms of the credible leaks that I discussed, which I find credible, which is why we're referring to them as credible leaks, but it wouldn't surprise me that JJ would do something like that. Alright, next. Sheev confirms that Rey is his granddaughter, but doesn't go into detail about which one of her parents was his offspring. This is consistent with leaks. Alright, so that part's probably true. Continuing on, Rey asks Sheev how he's still alive if Vader killed him 31 years ago. This is an alteration from the Kylo meeting Sheev scene. That is true. So, in one of the earlier cuts of the film that I actually believe from Making Star Wars Jedi Paxos, they say that one of the original scenes was Kylo having this conversation with Palpatine, and Palpatine is now apparently going to have this conversation with Rey to make his whole plot seem to make sense, since Rey is going to be the one to ultimately defeat him, because really it's her story. Next, there's a purported plot twist where Palpatine reveals himself that he is the real Palpatine and the one who died in Return of the Jedi was merely a clone. Palpatine knew that Vader would ultimately betray him, so he prepared several clones in advance for such an occasion while he said himself on Exegol, tricking the galaxy into thinking he was dead. The Knights of Ren are also implied to be clones. During this revelation, another clone walks in, appearing to be a far younger version of Palpatine. This clone is played by Matt Smith. Okay, so Matt Smith reportedly was involved in this film at some point, although it seems to suggest that his scenes may have been cut and or changed. And the fact that the Knights of Ren are implied to be clones, I'm not really buying that, especially considering everything that's been laid out in the last two films. And as Palpatine being a clone, I really hope they don't go with that. That would just be such a cop-out, and I cannot imagine them actually doing that. And Palpatine knowing that Vader would ultimately betray him, so he let his entire empire collapse, makes little to no sense at all. So if they think that's going to please fans, they're wrong there. But I would take that this is complete bunk. Sheev reveals himself that he's the real one who died. The Return of the Jedi was just a clone. Vader knew he would betray him. Crap. The one grain of truth in this is that Palpatine knew Vader would betray him line. Not in the sense that he knew it as it was happening, but he, in his hindsight, is able to realize that the familial bond between Luke and Vader was so strong that that is why he was betrayed. And apparently Palpatine, in this version, had seen that happening the whole time. In the actual credible version that I believe, it was Palpatine's hindsight that has led him to believe that, which is why he's hid himself until he has been able to rebuild his empire. So it seems to me that a guy who's already on top, to drop everything and then start all over again, would not be a wise master plan. So we're going to continue on. As a side note, this is easily the worst part of the movie based on the current cut, as it implies Palpatine willingly allowed his empire to fall. It directly negates Vader's sacrifice and made everyone post-Return of the Jedi look like massive idiots who got bamboozled anyway. This is correct. That's what I just said. Alright, so continued. Kylo Ren approaches the throne room, but the Knights of Ren stop him. Rey force teleports Leia's lightsaber to him. Kylo kills the Knights and enters the throne room. Okay, rumor. This seems to be grounded in something that seems to be true. Kylo approaches the throne room, but the Knights of Ren try and stop him. True. Rey force teleports Leia's lightsaber to him. Probably false. Kylo kills the Knights and enters the throne room. True. He's supposed to get his butt kicked by the Knights of Ren first, and then use the Force to take them out that way. And then Rey force teleporting a lightsaber to him contradicts a leak we saw earlier where Kylo and Rey both have blue lightsabers. I highly doubt Rey force teleports one to him. Sheev smiles and states how Rey and Kylo have finally been brought together, almost mirroring Snoke's speech in The Last Jedi. This is one of the things that JJ meant of honoring Ryan and The Last Jedi. We'll read a little farther and then I'll explain. Sheev says, execute Order 67 through a hologram. The Sith armada of Star Destroyers mounted with Death Star cannons arise from the water. Leia and Hux join forces and assemble the Resistance fleet. They engage with the Sith forces over Exegol. Alright, so let's go over these last couple of points here. I can see JJ doing that to honor Ryan, but the Order 67, that's just so obvious. You gotta be kidding me. Sith Armada destroyers mounted with Death Star cannons arise from the water. That's supposed to be at the beginning of the film now. And Leia and Hux join forces. You mean to tell me that this whole time, Hux, we're supposed to buy into this, that Hux was the mole the whole time, but only now at the climax of the film has decided to reveal how to beat them? I don't think so. If that were to happen, this would have been like episode 4, where they would have gotten the plans to whatever Palpatine was doing. Hux would have given to them at the beginning so that they could have been focusing this whole time on when the time comes how to actually attack. So this seems to be stupid. And considering the credible leaks, Hux was supposed to be killed by General Pride because it was found out that he's the mole. Originally it was going to be Kylo killing him, and now it's supposed to be Pride killing him, with nobody but Pride knowing that he was the mole. So continuing on, Jannah and Finn lead a cavalry aboard General Pride's flagship to disable it, as regular ships can't destroy for some reason. They must take out the flagship in order to send the Sith fleet into disarray. Finn and Jannah kill Pride and take out the flagship. This is true. This part is actually true. Jannah and Finn cavalry aboard General Pride's flagship, that's what the horse is. So this part is actually true and consistent with all of the leaks thus far. Sheev cackles and shoots out Force lightning to disable the entire Resistance fleet. True. That has happened. That's been reported in every single leak. The Millennium Falcon gets blown up. Lando, Leia, Chewie, 3PO, and R2 die. This is supposed to be the saddest part of the movie. Not really buying that. Sheev does do the Resistance fleet thing. He does throw all the lightning into it, pausing them in midair and in dead space. But the Falcon getting blown up seems to be consistent with a leaked track from John Williams' score called The Falcon's Last Ride. So that part's probably true, that the Falcon might end up getting destroyed. But the idea that Leia, Lando, 3PO, and R2 die seems to be not true, especially considering Leia is supposed to die early on in the film and have some type of off-screen interaction with Luke through the Force for that. So I'm not buying the fact that Leia's in there. The other leaks that we heard where Lando, Chewie, 3PO, and R2 die actually seem to be consistent with a couple of them thus far, although I'm still not buying that. Alright, moving on. Rey and Kylo try to fight off Palpatine. Palpatine kills Kylo with Force lightning and sends him into an abyss. This seems to be consistent with every part of the movie thus far, which I cannot believe that this is still being so consistent, because I was really hoping that this would be disproven at this point, and sadly it has not been. It seems to just be gaining credibility throughout each new leak and alteration of the movie, because they have done all the reshoots and now they're in that re-editing process of the cuts, testing out different cuts of the film. And the fact that Kylo still continues to die in each movie, just I cannot imagine any fans getting behind that. Alright, so this causes Rey to get angry and channel every Jedi ever. Palpatine shoots lightning at Rey, but she deflects it back at him. Palpatine blows up, dying once and for all. So the Rey channeling every Jedi ever, she has been working on that through the sacred Jedi text that she took from the Force tree since The Last Jedi, but apparently she didn't even need them if all she has to do is deflect Palpatine's lightning back at him and blow him up. So I'm not really buying that. There's got to be more to it than that, because then the whole point up to this point would just be ridiculous. Rey then shoots a torrent of lightning into the sky and disables the rest of the Sith Armada. The remaining Resistance ships finish them off. Victory ensues and everyone cheers for Rey. I cannot imagine that either, although it would mirror the fact that Palpatine is supposed to be Rey's grandfather, so the fact that she uses the same power that he did in order to destroy everything he built would make sense symbolically, but it just seems too easy. The ending involved Tatooine, and Rey Skywalker stays the same. They go to Tatooine to bury the Skywalker family stuff, and a stranger walks up to Rey and asks her who she is. She takes on the surname Skywalker as a title, for she has found her place in life and whatnot. The end. This part is consistently true with all of the leaks thus far. We don't know who that stranger is. I'm kind of hoping it's Kylo and that somehow he survived. But there you have it. Additionally, this movie will get an early premiere in Japan 1 week before it releases from everywhere else, so expect early spoilers. All of that makes sense. Alright, so the Rey Skywalker ending part, consistent. We just went over everything. I just went over everything that seems to be consistent with the regular leaks, and everything that still seems to be far-fetched. However, everything is starting to line up a bit more, so as more leaks come out, and especially as Disney does those internal test screenings continue, I'm sure all of those Disney moles will be supplying leaks, and we will get a more clear-cut image of the rise of Skywalker. I know for The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens we didn't get as many credible leaks, but this time it really seems like all of the new promo continues to be accurate with everything that we've been seeing. So that is the latest thing that I wanted to address on this new purported changed ending. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. And thank you guys for watching, God bless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching this episode of Star Wars Coffee. If you enjoyed it, and frankly, even if you didn't, be sure to subscribe. And tell your friends about Star Wars Coffee as well. If you want to be able to support the work I do on this channel, please go check out some of the Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and check out other videos on this channel. Thank you for watching. I have spoken.